So for you then, if we're talking about what are like some of these considerations that you think would be important. So if you can take whichever you want first. If you want to do like a player, a parent, a coach, whatever you want, from whichever perspective, like what are some of the considerations that you think would be valid or important if you're in each of those positions?
Okay, I think something, I don't know if this is overlooked or not. Okay, but I'm going to go as a parent, even a coach, and I guess kids don't really think about it. But you want to bug me? You want to get me going? Is ask me to fundraise. Ask me to fundraise for a team. Let's get a sponsor for $500 to put the name on the back of the jersey. Ask people for money so your kid could play hockey. That number one, that drives me bananas. Because now I know this. Some people say, yeah, but some people can't afford it. I get it, but I think that should be done on your own individual thing. Like anytime they said car wash, volunteer time, let's do this, that, the other thing to raise money. I said, no, I'll pay for my kid. Number one, I will pay for my kid. And it's not because I'm extremely wealthy, because I chose to do this. So I'm going to pay for my kid. I'm not going to ask other people to support my kid's hockey. That's number one. So that bugs me. That actually really bugs me. And then what bugs me more about it is that I've seen teams with so much money left over at the end of the year, because I've got calls on this where they say, "Hey Andy, and look at the value they put on the training after. Hey Andy, so the last month of the season we got like $8,000 to spend on, and can you come out and do a whole bunch of lessons? We got to get rid of this money." It's like, well, number one, you're not valuing the training if you just need to get rid of the money. And number two, why do you have that much money to just go blow? So you've over fundraised, right? So it bothers me a lot.
Yeah,
like you have no idea how much it bugs me.
Because people had to like put work into getting that money, fundraising that money, and then it's like you didn't actually need it, kind of thing.
Or the kids have 17 different tracksuits and hats and toques and jerseys and third jerseys, this, that, the other thing. Like, how much do you guys need? It's like you're just wasting money now. So it really bothers me. Now, it's totally different if you play for the Toronto Marlies or whatever team, and there's like an owner, or this is the budget they, or the owner of the team, or when it was in Detroit, there was kind of like when I coached in Bell Tire gave X amount of money for pants, this, that, the other thing. Parents had to come up with so much for ice fees, I think, and then had to get around, and then typically there's a guy, a dad on the team that has says, like, donates, right? He says, here's X amount for coaches or for the team, do what you want, and you get a whole bunch of stuff. To me, that's different. It's like that donation is like, do what you want with it.
So that's better? Like, is that a better? Are you saying that's a better way of doing it versus like mandatory fundraising? In your opinion,
if I own the team that you play for, or if I decide you're playing on a team, and I say, here's $50,000 to do whatever you want with this team. Like, you put it towards jerseys. I say put it towards jerseys and this, that, the other thing, and it's like, it's not bothering anybody else except for, I'm giving it to you. So this is what I would like you to do with this money. I don't have a problem with that. Now people are going to say, yeah, but that kid gets all the ice.
yeah, right, exactly.
But that it's just it is what it is.
Right.
There's people that do it, and not everybody does it so their kid gets more ice.
Okay, so first, so let's first separate the guy that donates the money and that equating to your kid's gonna get all the ice and blah, blah, blah. Like that's out. We're not talking about that. We're just strictly talking about the financial piece of it. So we're not talking about the downstream effects of where the money goes today. Like, different conversation, right? So so what you're saying to you from a parent perspective, like having gone through it, because I haven't had to do this, so I don't know what it's like. But I remember as a player having to do all these fundraising things. I remember that being a pain in the ass, because I was like, go to the car wash and like stand on the corner and like beg people to come wash their car, or the tag day that we had to do where you're standing out. And there's some good in that. Like, I'm not saying it's all bad. Like, being out there and being uncomfortable and having to talk to a random person, it's like, that's a good skill building thing. But again, like, that's not what we're talking about. I'm just talking about the money part. So I remember those things being a pain in the ass, and then like my parents would have to figure out how to get me there, and then how, like,
they're not busy at all.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's gonna be that there's a 5-hour day and all this stuff. So I just, as like maybe a pushback kind of, is I like the option because some people can't afford it. So if you have the ability to go fundraise some money and that's useful for you, then that's fine. but it's like the mandatory.
Yeah,
that's
that's my point.
Yeah.
It's like there are people that, you know, their kids are good hockey players and they can't afford it and they have to look at alternative ways, right? Now, if you came up to me and said, "Can PowerTech sponsor me because, you know, Andy, you're a customer," which I've told people, like, I've got some stories, by the way, but, you know, I don't sponsor people because I've got thousands of customers, right? I can't do one, right? But if you came up to me and said, "Hey, Andy, can you know, we're having a hard time. Like, dad lost his job, mom is struggling, right? Is there any way you could help support?" And I said, 100%. What is it? Registration, whatever. Let's say, you know what? I'm going to be really generous too. I'm going to give you $4,000. Right? Is that generous? I don't know. I think it is.
Probably.
Okay. I think it's a lot.
Yeah.
And then I see that now you have unnecessary things, like and tracksuits and which is fine, but the extra stuff, and then now maybe it's like mom and dad could go out and have steak dinners. I don't know, you know what I mean? It's like, does that make sense? So I don't know if I said this the way I wanted to say it.
Try again.
But if you have to, but if you so yeah, so if you have to go and get a sponsor, it's totally fine. I get that. It's just like, how much does someone need, as opposed to what's over the top. And when they impose it on people, I'm like, how much does the team actually need? So that comes down to, like, what does the team actually need? There's ice, you know, whatever. So, anyways,
Okay,
cool.
so
I think mine's all messed up.
No, that's okay. That's good, because we're getting to like kind of the point. So if you as a parent, would you say, if you're just like the average parent, like you don't have unlimited money to just blow on everything, most parents, generally speaking, would want to save money however they can. And then they, at the same time, would want their kids to have like a good experience with whatever they're doing. So if we could call those like the two primary goals for most parents, let's say, if you're just like your average middle class parent, you're trying to get your kid through hockey, you're not the super rich guy or the super poor guy, just the average person, that's who we're talking about. You want to not lose money unnecessarily for stupid things, and then you want your kid to have a good experience. So to me, because this is something common that I hear from a lot of parents, like we have a lot of dads that come in here, a lot of moms that come in here, and it's like, yeah, now we have to pay for this, and now there's like this extra thing that we're doing, and like, so they did the registration fee of, for AAA, that's whatever, $4,000, $6,000, whatever it is now, and then it's like plus, yes. Right? So it's like, now we're fundraising for the plus, and it's like, is this necessary? Do we need this? Whatever. And like you said, it's not to say like, hey, everybody wear your normal clothes and nobody cares and we don't look like a team. It's like, there's some of that's fine, right? And like the higher level, the more that makes sense, I guess, to me.
And having, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it actually could be cheaper in some ways. Like, if the kids have, you know, it's a mandatory tracksuit that you wear to games, that's actually a lot cheaper than buying a whole bunch of clothes.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So I mean, that could be buttoned up pretty good, but it's like, it's the extra that.
Well, and then you get like the other things that aren't even necessarily team things. It's like, well, you got to wear a suit to the game. And it's like, okay, so now if I'm a 12-year-old, I have to go buy a full suit. Like, I'm sure you could find a cheap one, whatever, but like, generally speaking, a suit's not a cheap ensemble, right? So these kinds of things. So I want to kind of contrast that. So if we take that, was that fair to say for you? Like, for you as a dad, that's kind of what you would say for you, is like, I don't want to be losing money unnecessarily, and I want my kid to have a good experience. Is there any other like dad goal in terms of the financial piece?
Yeah, like